Hi there. Before we continue with our narrative, I'm gonna address something. Caesar has mutton chops. If this bugs you, I can't help you. He was the most Caesar-y NPC I could find in Skyrim, and until someone else feels like making head models based on Roman busts for me, we'll have to make do with Mutton Chop Caesar, Weird Ponytail That I Hide Cicero, Dave Navarro Clodius, and Ape-Faced Crackets. Okay, so last time Caesar formed the triumvirate along with Pompey and Crassus. By the way, it's really worth pointing out that of these three men at this time, Caesar is by far the junior person in this partnership. Pompey was literally called Pompey Magnus or Pompey the Great, and Crassus was one of the richest people in history. So Caesar's consulship has ended, and a lot of people really expected him to just go off, govern his territories in Gaul, and fade into obscurity. It was about this point, February or March of 58 BC, that a bunch of Germans decided to attack and raid a bunch of Swiss people called the Helvetti. But this time the Helvetti had had enough, and they resolved to find a new home. So they migrated right through Caesar's new province on the way to the west. In fact, the Helvetti and other tribes making up around 263,000 people were so determined that they burned their villages to discourage anyone in their group from staying behind. That definitely will not come back and bite them in the ass later. Now, at the end of March that year, the Helvetti start to arrive in Caesar's province of Transalpine Gaul. Caesar races to a bottleneck in their migration path, bridge at Geneva, and destroys it, and then he begins negotiations with the massive force.
I'm seeing a lot more Swiss people here in my province than I had before.
It's totally cool. We are just passing through on our way to the west.
You wouldn't be planning on, invading Gaul or anything on your way through?
What? Us? No.
Because I'm seeing quite a lot of axes.
No, that's just the farming stuff.
Okay, well, how many do you have here?
Just 250,000. It's not really as much as...
Holy shit. Okay, no. You know what? Come here for a minute. If you could just turn around for a moment and let me get behind you here. Thank you. No, a little more. Look my way. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's much better.
Oh, please! Okay. I'm going to be straight with you. We burned down all of our villages when we left as this whole solidarity thing.
Well, now, you see, I didn't tell you to do that. That is not my fault at all.
I know.
Yes,
we were just super pumped up and in the moment.
Well, that would be shame on you then, I'm sorry. This will require some very deep thought and consideration here while you face me standing here for the next 15 or so days. Let me just think. Let me keep thinking. Let me think.
Oh. But... how?
Okay, now I've lost it. I must restart. Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, now I'm thinking again now very well.
Have you come to a conclusion?
I think I'm nearing a conclusion.
We won't pillage. We promise.
One more week. Let me sit here one more week and think. No. Honestly, I could take some hostages from you, and yes, it would all go fine for me, but I would really like a war.
Screw you! We're just gonna go anyway. What you gonna do, loser?
Turn around.
Is that a 19-mile-long wall blocking our way?
Yes.
Oh,
It's around this time that Caesar receives a letter from Cicero. This also seems like a good time to pause and say that Cicero wrote a lot of letters. How do I know that? Because we have a huge amount of them. More on that next episode. I just want to say that they actually can kind of be a fun read. I don't think that there's any other historical source from this era that comes off so real and alive. The man even mentions in one letter that he has the shits for days. It's actually the reason I have a soft spot for him. Out of all the characters in the Roman Revolution, I think we're given the clearest picture of Cicero, whether in a negative or positive light. It'll be another 1,000 years or so before we get another historical source so personal and extensive, and frankly funny. Caesar receives this letter from Cicero, and unfortunately for Cicero, it looks like he has finally found a strong political enemy in the form of Publius Clodius Pulcher, who we met at the end of last episode. Clodius had a seething hatred for Cicero, and it had been burning for 3 years. In 62 BC, Caesar's mom was hosting a religious women's-only ceremony, men forbidden, and, well, it looks like Clodius might have wanted to sleep with Caesar's wife, who was at the party. Or Clodius just really wanted to go to the ceremony, because he decided to go to the party in drag. Caesar's mom caught him, chased him through the house, and then out of the house. So I assume you're probably asking,
what the shit did that have to do with Cicero?
Okay, I'll tell you, just calm down.
Okay.
Go away. Clodius was now...
Did your auto quality just dramatically raise?
Yes! Okay. Clodius was now being accused of invading a religious ceremony, a crime, and of being a cross-dresser. Clodius shrugged the whole thing off and said,
I wasn't even in the city that night. Huge party, bro. Huge party.
But then Cicero came out and was all like,
He was at my house that very night. I will testify in court.
he was so gossipy about it, we even have him writing about it in letters to his friend Atticus. Clodius won this trial through bribery, but he never forgot about how Cicero testified against him.
I don't like you.
I don't like you either.
I don't like you more.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, in this letter, Cicero is becoming rather scared of Clodius and his new powers given by Caesar in the form of Clodius being tribune of the plebs. Cicero wants to rely on his usual in for the triumvirate, Pompey, but Pompey essentially has decided on doing nothing except saying,
he ain't gonna do shit. Shit.
So Cicero asks Caesar if he can do anything to help. Now, Caesar was no idiot. Okay, he was sometimes an idiot, but most of the time he planned things down to the tiniest detail. I mean, the guy invented an entire calendar. So Caesar knows that Cicero is a very powerful voice to have on your side, but the offer he made was not enough to win Cicero over to his side. Caesar offered Cicero a position as legate in his Gaulish conquest, but if Cicero were to stay in Rome, he would have to fend for himself. Now, you remember I said Caesar was expected to die fighting Gauls or fade into obscurity after serving out his term as proconsul of Gaul. So, Cicero decided that Clodius wouldn't do anything too drastic and decided to stay in Rome. Or, well, he did right up until Clodius had a law passed. The law essentially said that any Roman who had ordered the killing of another Roman without trial would be subject to prosecution. The law was clearly aimed at Cicero. A good name for it would have been the Make Cicero Flee into Exile Bill, that it was so specific. Because in 63, as consul, Cicero had ordered the killing of a lot of senators without trial. Cicero really had nothing else to do but flee into exile. When you read his letters, this, in my opinion, is one of the 3 lowest points. But let's be like Cicero and leave Rome for a while and see how Caesar is doing with those pesky Helvetti. See, the Helvetti were pretty pissed off about Caesar's wall and decided to bypass it by going north around it. Caesar expected this. In fact, he was kind of hoping for it, because while the Helvetti were migrating, they also decided that migrating and raiding weren't mutually exclusive things after all. They began to raid local tribes they came across, some of them being Roman allies. The Roman allies asked Caesar for help, and wouldn't you know it, Caesar had actually raced back and forth through the Italian Alps for some reinforcements, and turned his 1 legion of Roman troops into 6, some of them illegally raised. Unluckily for the Helvetti, Caesar arrived just as they were crossing the river Arar. Caesar sat there, waited until 3/4 of the Helvetti had crossed the river, and then ordered his men to slaughter the last quarter waiting on the riverbank to leave. The other 3/4 were pretty pissed off, but also down by a quarter. So they decided the best thing to do would be to haul ass west through Gaul as fast as possible. Caesar then left with 6 legions and gave chase to the Helvetti, but to be able to really chase the Helvetti, Caesar decided that it would be better to forego having regular supply lines, which enabled him to go faster, but was taking a really big risk. Now the Helvetti noticed that, and begin to kill Caesar's foraging parties. Things start to get pretty bad for Caesar, and he realizes he's going to need aid from local allies. So he turns his army around to get to a small city called Biberacte. The Helvetti see this, and start to chase Caesar's army. Now Caesar's running for his life. But wait, we have some incredibly random news from Cyprus. It looks like the king of Cyprus has a strange problem. He forgot to confirm with Rome that he was king. I know it's confusing, but think of it like renewing your driver's license. Normally this wouldn't be a problem, but back in Rome, Clodius noticed and decided to name the Kingdom of Cyprus a new Roman province. And who better to oversee the conversion than noble Cato? This has nothing to do with how Clodius would like more control in Rome and how Cato is an annoying obstructionist. Cato knew too, but he was so obsessed with arbitrarily following Roman law that he went anyway. So Cato arrives in Cyprus, along with someone we'll definitely be hearing from in the future, Marcus Junius Brutus. Cato begins negotiations with King Ptolemy of Cyprus in order to make sure things go smoothly. Ptolemy kills himself. I'm assuming he killed himself because Cato is annoying. Fine. He killed himself because he wanted to die a king, but it's not unthinkable that he could have done it because Cato is really annoying. Either way, Clodius is pretty much in complete control of Rome. Yeah, Pompey's right, he won't do shit. Meanwhile, Caesar is still running for his life in Gaul. His army is in full flight trying to get to Biberacte, and the Helvetti chase him doggedly, but Caesar manages to make it to a hill near Biberacte. Caesar fittingly positions himself at the top of a hill, along with the 11th and 12th Legion, and his auxiliaries. The 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th were the main force at the bottom of the hill. The Helvetti did a pretty simple, uncreative charge on Caesar's forces at the bottom of the hill, and as a result, it wasn't successful, and the Helvetti began to waver. But just then, more Helvetti reinforcements arrived and attacked Caesar's flank. This raised morale for the Helvetti a little, but the versatility of the Roman legion paid off. Reserves were peeled off the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th legions to hold the flank, and the Helvetti eventually broke and ran. When they were rounded up, Caesar had a word with some of the Helvetti left alive.
Okay, so I don't really know if you're getting this, but we really don't want to live next to the Germans. They won't stop killing us, and frankly, it's annoying.
Well, if you don't stop trying to migrate through my lands, I won't stop trying to kill you. So I think you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You see, in this situation, we are the rock, and the Germans are the hard place.
You're making us move back there, but we burn our homes.
Oh, enough about that already. We quite need you between us and those Germans. They're very pesky. It's just better this way for both of us. And besides, we'll help you build your new homes. By us, I mean you. We'll build your new homes.
What? Dick? Can you bring back my dad you slaughtered back there then? Huh? How about that?
Yes, I can bring back the dead. Of course I can, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, off, get out of here.
So the Helvetti are sent back to be a buffer state between Rome and Germany, and holy shit, okay. My pace is going much too slow because we're at the end of the episode, so next time, you're going to notice my pace pick up a little, especially on the Gallic Wars. The point of showing it in detail in this part was to give you an idea of how Caesar's mind worked tactically. He wasn't afraid to play dirty, he would take risks, and his siege construction was mind-boggling. I'm not kidding, he really had a 19-mile-long wall built. Roman miles, albeit, but still. Let's leave Caesar now in mid-58 BC, poised to conquer all of Gaul.
Okay, so what's going on in Rome? I sent in my king confirmation papers months ago. I haven't heard back yet. Cato, Brutus, do you have any news on this?
Yeah, so the thing about that is you sent in Form 84D. King Confirmation Paper 84D declares you King of Gaul. So I don't know if that was a mistake, but Ptolemy, you're not the King of Gaul.
Oh, I know I'm not the King of Gaul, Brutus. I sent in 84D and then the clerk notified me I sent in 85C. Did you see that paper too?
Excuse me, Brutus. Well, hang on, let me look through here. What we got for you? Oh, okay, see right here. You filled out the form in Greek. It says right here, Latin only. Oh my goodness gracious. And you signed right here what it clearly says, print name.
Are you serious? Okay, I'm going to bed. I've had enough of this for one night. I need to think. You're a dick, Cato. Brutus, you're a bastard. I don't want to see you again.
Hey now, that's uncalled for. I don't want to be here either.
Then why are you here, Cato? Why are you here?
I just want to send some thanks to some people as well. The maps for this episode were made by Adam McKithern. He's really great at doing this stuff and really quick too. If you ever need a map guy, just look him up. I also want to thank the Totalis Rankium podcast that, you guessed it, is ranking Roman emperors. The good news is that they are much further along than me in their grading, so definitely look up their podcasts or just their Facebook page for posts and things. I was also able to get some advice from History Buffs on YouTube, so I really want to thank him for taking time out of his busy schedule to look through my videos and give me some tips. Lastly, I want to thank the Facebook page History Podcasts. They're an extremely supportive group, and they always have interesting historical information to post. This video took a very long time, but I got it out, despite moving to a new location and being power surged and repolishing everything in my videos, really. I hope you appreciate the result, though. Expect more regular videos from me in the future. Once again, if you notice anything inaccurate or uncredited, please leave a comment letting me know.
Okay,